Weekend, but we are now in the game here, getting coverage set up for this weekend as we have Call It Karma on the Legion side. And again, they're tagged up as Scar. We call them YOLO, whatever you want to call these guys over here on the Hellborn side. Joel's team even over there. So, yeah, again, getting coverage kicked off though for the week, and we just had our podcast going into the Sound Blaster League finals for the qualifier at least, and then obviously we have Han Tour continuing tomorrow. With Cycle number 4, where we're going to be wrapping it up this weekend, so it should be a lot of fun indeed.
Yeah.
The blind banning phase, Ophelia Wild Soul taken care of by C1K, Tempest, Keeper of the Forest, coming out here by our Hellborn team. Parasite, the first lock.
Yeah, and I don't, again, it's pretty standard. I still feel that if you have the opportunity to take Wild Soul first, there's really no point in banning him, but they do go ahead and ban him out. Maybe they just don't have a comfortable Wild Soul player. And first lock up is by the Jellyfish, is Parasite, actually. Snap locked, really. And then Warbeast locked after that, as well as Chipper. So interesting things, kind of. The Chipper is a little bit of a standout lock right there. But still very early on here.
Yeah, although this is a team we really haven't seen a whole lot of on Honcast. I don't even know if we've ever honestly casted this team before. And again, they've been doing a shit happens and whatnot. And like I said, they've even been in Diamond before. So they clearly got some skills over here, but you know, we really don't know their playstyle. Don't really know much about them other than that. So again, really kind of intrigued here. You mentioned the Chipper and Warbeast locks coming out. Maybe that's a sign of things to come from what this is, this Hellborn team over here. So now I will say they actually defeated Q Squad 777 in the semifinals yesterday, I believe it was, to get to this point. So again, clearly they can beat some good teams out there and getting to this point. But no doubt, you know, if I was a betting man, I probably would have to put the money down on Call It Karma here in this series. But hey, that's why they play the game after all. So looking forward at very least to a great series. Call It Karma, they are going to respond using a bit of extra time here after their Parasite first lock. And then, of course, that Warbeast and Chipper. So a couple of jungles being locked up here, despite all those blind bads coming out. Bubbles and Wretched Hag, it looks like, going to be the response here from C1K. And back over to Scar, as they're known, for the final ban. We'll see, or lock, excuse me. We'll see what it is.
Yeah, and I thought that C1K might run some suicide heroes now, and I mean, we saw for the longest period of time in the metagame that it was, you know, locking lots of suicides and junglers, and just keeping your draft safe, so that when you get to the point, when you get to that lockpick phase, you're not screwed and like, oh god, now we're gonna have to end up with a roaming Pebbles or something like that. So they lock up 2 suicides. Wretched Hag, kind of, you know, pretty good suicide. Not my favorite suicide, to be honest, but can be played in that role. As we see, you know, specifically Zai plays a fantastic suicide.
Yeah.
Wretched Hag can't really do too much in the lane. It's all about how much can he bounce back in the mid game, and he's a hero that you get level 6. You don't really need that much farm, but you can bounce back with some very, very easy setup ganks. And you have the potential to win your lane too if it's a solo short, and if you just if you can outplay your opponent. Silhouette is the final lockout coming in from Scar.
Yeah, you know, speaking of the suicide, you know, another hero that you may not, you know, kind of on and off on whether or not you really would want him as you choose that option. You know, Warbeast could have fit that as well. We have seen Warbeast. A couple of teams even play that Suicide of Warbeast and actually work out fairly well. You get those levels up at the very least, and you start just maxing out that battle cry, I believe it's called, and all of a sudden your whole team's hitting for a lot of damage early on in the game. So curious to see if perhaps that comes about. But the banning phase to begin here, you see a Banana for the win actually disconnecting, but not necessarily the biggest deal. Might just be restarting or whatnot. In fact, there he goes. Looks like he's reconnecting. But our captain in the Jellyfish, he is spending a little bit of extra time, more so once again, so needs to be a little bit careful on that. Already getting down to 15 seconds and counting before we're going to start randoming here. So we're only just at the beginning of the banning phase. Very rare to see that. So Fade is finally going to come out as the first ban, but again, got to be careful there.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe Jollum, that's going to be a bit of a cue for him to speed up his bans to put more pressure on the C1K, because, yeah, they've used up a lot of extra time. And we have seen teams actually random in the past. And I've also seen teams say, no, we're not going to let you remake because time is there for a reason. So, yeah, one thing to think about. But the next bans are coming out fairly quickly. Plague Rider, or Fade Draconis, Plague Rider, then Moon Queen. Now back over to C1K.
Yeah, of course, one more ban for either side. Then into the first pick stage we go. Zephyr going to be the final ban from Call It Karma, so they do not want to have to deal with the bird. Engineer going to come out as the final ban for Jolem here. Yolim. I don't know. Anyways, over there, the captain, of course, for Scar, the Hellborn team. Pebble's going to be the quick first pick, though, from the Jellyfish. Didn't spend too much time thinking about that. Pretty much knew that he wanted to go with that Pebbles first pick. So your thoughts on that, Trev?
Very, very strong. I don't blame him at all. I think Pebbles is so strong, not even in this metagame, but since the history of competitive Han. I mean, this hero has always seemed to have a place in any lineup. Jeremiah picked up, and as well as the Glaciist. I'm very curious as to how they want to lane Jeremiah. TDM, a team that likes to run Jeremiah as well, they actually like to run him in a dual lane mid farming him. That's not particularly my favorite thing to do with Jeremiah. I think he can actually be played effectively in the suicide role because he is a little bit more difficult to kill. Obviously, he has the heal and the protective charm to get away from certain ganks or stuns and whatnot. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they run Jeremiah. Nonetheless, a very, very strong team fight hero.
Yeah, and my only concern with that is that it does, what already might have been a good first pick out of that lock pool in Parasite for C1K, it even values him even a little bit higher now, knowing that he would have him going up against a Jeremiah. But actually, they're going to go with the Luna Electrician here as their follow-up. So again, we've talked about this from time to time where it doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't pick up Jeremiah because of an Electrician threat, but nonetheless, Electrician is very powerful against Jeremiah with that purge of his. In his own ultimate. So, and we have seen Electrician, popping up here and there, even without Jeremiah on the opposition.
Yeah.
On the competitive scene. So, Moraxis, the final pick, by the way, coming up for Scar. What do you think of how things finished off there, though, Trev?
Yeah, I really feel like Scar could have saved the Jeremiah pick if they really wanted it. One of the tools you can use as second pick and last pick, for that matter, in the regular picking phase, that is you can throw a curveball out at a team, and then with the locks already in place, you can't really counter it other than all the heroes that are already locked. Now, Parasite is a pretty good counter to Jeremiah, but they wouldn't have access to Electrician. Now, again, I still don't think that Electrician is like, your quote-unquote strong counter to Jeremiah, but it can be used as a good tool. And yeah, I think it was just as surprised as you. I thought for sure Parasite was going to get picked first in the lockpick phase over Silhouette. And Parasite actually does get picked up here for Scar, along with, what else was picked with them? The Wretched Hat.
Yeah.
And then Warbeast is the final pick there for Call of Karma.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, they do get Warbeast, so of course they still get a solid jungle option, no doubt. But yeah, a little bit surprised by that, passing up the Parasite option, but I think they really just wanted to make sure they had the hard carry. But again, they could have even if they went the Parasite, the chances of Scar going both Silhouette and Warbeast as carries for themselves might not have been as highly. Anyways, but they are going to go with that, and in the end, still, I look at Call of Karma's lineup, definitely one to reckon with as far as how they're going to set it up. I guess this means we're probably going to see an Electrician Suicide, actually, unless we got an aggressive pseudo tri-lane, but with a Warbeast.
Yeah,
I really expect that.
Yeah, I expect that too, and he's already running up there with the boots. Hopefully he sells those, because I would like to see a Wretched Hag in the solo lane short and not suicide. Okay, he does sell the boots. Okay, it was very close there. And then I'm expecting a Jeremiah actually suicide in this case, so I do like that, because he's not going to really die against Silhouette. He might have a difficult time, depending, of course, Silhouette does stay bottom. She's actually bought mid items, though, so I wonder if they're going to go dual lane mid with Silhouette and Luna, then have like Pebbles solo bottom. Not quite sure yet, but all 5 members of Scar are down here. Might see an engagement.
Oh, wow. Silhouette in a lot of trouble, actually. Almay's dropping quickly. Gets the trigger well poured in time. And no, the final auto attack flies to the air. And Glacius, on being played by Adro there, will actually get credit. So it seemed like she might have made the getaway, but the final auto attack flies to the air and gets the kill. And just like that, Bloodlust coming out for Scar. Everyone on the team getting an assist on top of that. So
yeah. That's really nice, actually. Everyone getting a little bit of extra gold. So great for them. It does look like it's going to be Silhouette in a dual lane bottom against presumably the Suicide hero. Although, with heroes like Parasite and Ophelia specifically in the jungle, you can always have the option to man up. And against a very passive jungler in Warbeast, it's a great idea, because it's going to force him to maybe either start in a different jungle or just force him to, move around and try to dodge the aggression coming out from the aggressive tri-lane. So it's going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, basically. You're going to shut down that dual lane, and you're going to be able to roam on the jungler.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So I think it's safe to say, with how we're seeing things come about, it doesn't make sense to just send Kalbergs here into Luna just to the middle lane. Why is she even here at the bottom lane if it is going to be an aggressive pseudo trial in here? So We'll see if that adjustment does come up here from Call It Karma, but off the bat, it is going to start out kind of like a 2 versus 2 even. Parasite really isn't nearby. Parasite did go boots first, by the way, on top of that. You know, we see this from time to time where it just allows them to be even that much more aggressive and chase down people and whatnot. So, but Glacius, a lot of pressure there himself as he puts it onto a Luna. So the support here at the bottom lane definitely going back and forth. But again, as soon as that, you can expect Parasite sooner than later to set up a gank here either at the bottom or even the middle lane at this rate.
Yeah, well, the bad thing is that the Legion team has already lost lane control down here in the bottom lane. It's going to push out too far to the point where Parasite can get a free kill. And even if Parasite isn't, trying to get a kill, they don't know that because they don't have full vision of the jungle. So it's going to after this wave right here, it's going to cause them to play very passively. One thing to note too is Parasite did block the hard camp further left. Hurt Warbeast. It is spawned right now, but it did block it initially.
Oh, here we go. Aluna's in a lot of trouble. There comes a Frieza Catman champion from Parasite, and right on cue. Exactly what he talked about. In fact, the Leech now going to be used on the Silhouette. She should be fine. She does have a tree grapple. Not even going to be necessary, but there we go. Not even the Bloodlust, because that already happened, of course. The second kill now even coming out already in favor of our Hellborn team. So even the threat was there, but hey, they sure enough follow through with it. And C1K, maybe they were playing a little bit too aggressive. Yeah,
absolutely. And, I just really question back to the draft here. I know it's very, very early on, but Parasite's going to have a huge impact this game. Already you see this bottom lane is just so crushed. The lane's already pushed up. Luna's walking all the way down here, but for what? Like, what is she going to do? They don't have vision of the Parasite, and even if they do, it's still going to cause them to play passively. So they're completely crushing this bottom lane. They're putting some aggression, at least screwing up the farm of Banana for the win playing Warbeast. Mid lane, Jeremiah, he's in a... I mean, Pebble should win this lane as far as CS goes, but not by a long shot, because you can't really kill Jeremiah, so that's going to make Jeremiah a little bit safer in this lane. Actually, if you look at the CS, it's quite even, considering also the fact that Jeremiah doesn't have a hatchet. Top lane, we see some aggression back and forth between Wretched Hag and Electrician, and this is also a lane that I still favor the Wretched Hag because it's in their short lane.
Yeah.
So they're basically winning almost every lane and then being aggressive onto the jungler as well. So things are looking pretty good here in the laning phase for Team Scar.
Yeah, you see this very aggressive ward aside again placed by Adrio here off to the side, so they know exactly where Silhouette and Luna were, kind of roaming. Double damage room picked up by Parasite, by the way. He's trying to chase down Warbeast, and actually, if he gets close enough, Warbeast is going to go the other direction, though, and I believe should be fine, so Banana for the win going to escape. And now Parasite will need to be careful himself. It looks like he's going to get control of the Skeleton King, but 4 players are collapsing on top of him. He doesn't have a TP or anything like that. He does have boots, and if anything, he could just buy a lot of time here, really distract the Legion team, and that's kind of what he's doing, it looks like. Warbeast is chasing him with the minions, but now will they get turned on? Out comes the net right there from the Skeleton King. Parasite putting in the auto tracks on top of the Leech. A couple more should do him in, actually. Not going to have enough mana for another Leech, but Pebbles is now here, and Pebbles is ready to combo right there, and there we go. The kill onto Ghostig playing that Parasite. So great chase in the end, and Ghostig does fall. So a good amount of time was used, but they got the kill. Bottom lane in the meantime, Silhouette will be picked up as Glacius and more access, though, combo for the kill.
I was going to say, yeah, that was pretty ballsy and honestly kind of reckless by Ghostig playing Parasite, but honestly it kind of helped his team, like you mentioned. So much time was used getting that kill. Freed up just a little bit of farm for Jeremiah, who's now got 20 CS compared to the 15 of Pebbles. And then they also got a kill on the Silhouette, so a trade nonetheless was great. Oh, and Wretched Hag going to get a solo kill onto the Jellyfish, so things are not looking good early on here for Call It Karma.
No, they're not. A little bit surprised, but they're not going to lie. But again, this is definitely a team, although we really haven't covered them much, if at all. That they have, they've been in the Diamond Division, and they did defeat Q Squad 7-7-7 in the previous round, like I said. So clearly a team, not to scoff at by any means. And they're up right now 4-1 in hero kills with a good lead, both in gold and experience over Call It Karma here. Warby is going to find himself in a little bit of trouble. You see Parasite, but also an invisible Glacius nearby. Granted, you do have a Silhouette and a Luna also here, so both teams kind of making their presence felt. But in the end, the Parasite is going to fall back with Glacius. And instead, they're going to go for a gank in the middle lane. Pebbles did see it coming. Excelia here on this Pebbles. They do have the vision at the bottom rune spot, so we definitely saw some pressure coming, and that's going to force him, though, to play very, very passive here. As Jeremiah, man. Jeremiah, what is he at? 28-8 now, creep farm. He's actually dominating this Pebbles here compared to the 16-6 Pebbles. So he also just hit level 6. Things looking pretty good right now for Jeremiah, and again, continuing to look good for this Hellborn team as a whole.
Yeah.
You're trying to find some positive signs for Call It Karma. There really isn't much. I mean, even Warbeast is not having the greatest start here.
Yeah, he was getting pressured by Parasite. He can't really do anything. Parasite's actually taking over creeps, harming the other creeps that Warbeast is trying to kill. And so his farm is just not where it needs to be at all. And it's not his fault. It's just the nature of the lanes and the hero picks that Call It Karma did not get. And it makes you think back. They've locked Parasite. And then actually some aggression here onto mid. Pebble's in a little bit of trouble. The heal is used, but Pebble's going to use a stun and get away. Or he's actually doing some juking and jiving. But I feel like he could have just ran away. He might have screwed himself. If he gets spotted out right here, and he does get spotted right here, the lead's going to take him down. Ghosted gets credit for the kill. I feel like he could have just kept running, and he would have been fine. But tried to juke, and it did not pay off.
Yeah, now I will say also a little bit of a misplay there from Jerezai. He was just out of mana, but he had a bottle charge left, so if he made sure that he had enough mana for the combo of the heal and protective charm, Parasite would have never got stunned right there, and very likely would have just killed Pebbles earlier anyways. But in the end, they do get the kill, so obviously good for them. But you said, so kind of both sides, a little bit of a misplay there. Nonetheless, though, now a 5-1 hero kill advantage in favor of Scar. They're going to vote to pause here, hopefully nothing too serious, but we are already looking at a 4,400 gold lead and 3,700 experience lead early on, only 6.5 minutes into this game. And again, I just want to keep going back to, the point that you made at going to the lock pool. Why'd you pass up that Parasite to go for a silhouette carry option? And sure enough, you have Parasite now in the opposition, who's definitely had a very big impact to start this game. Actually, look at Glacius. He's 3-0-0 here to start things off, and obviously allowed him to get very early on boots. He's the one that got the Bloodlust kill, if I remember correctly. So,
yeah.
Where it's not looking good for Call It Karma, all across the board, it's looking great for the Hellborn team. There's the opposite side. And you got Jolem up here on Wretched Hag. He obviously got the kill earlier solo. Look at that. He's already at 383 gold per minute, actually, himself. Steam Boots, Ring of the Teacher, and Mystic Vestments picked up. Not looking good.
Yeah, he actually says that there's a Ring of the Teacher bug, and I know what he's talking about, where you activate it, you toggle it on and off, but it actually doesn't show the aura on your creeps, and it can be kind of annoying. I hope it fixed it, because I know in the past I've actually tried to log out and log back in, and it wasn't fixed, so. But it's not the biggest deal in the world. Anyway, yeah, I mean, Scar is just looking really good. Like I said, they've won every single lane, and they're roaming the jungler. So, I mean, what else more is there to say? You're also, like, I would say, well, if you have a jungler, at least you're farming in the jungle if they're winning every single lane. Oh, Luna's in a lot of trouble down here. The stun isn't even being used by Miraxis. Says he doesn't even need it, and he did not. As they get another kill down here in the bottom lane. So this is just looking awful.
Yeah, that was bad. And then the top lane, Electrician also gets picked up. Talk about a snowball effect, man. It is just in full force right now. This is getting to be a massive snowball already. Early on in this game, coming up for Scar. And again, you see this matchup. This isn't a matchup where you would think it's one side, the one team. If anything, maybe Call It Karma, but they really are. It is a mix. I mean, I think it's safe to say Call It Karma is not necessarily playing their A+ game by any means, but Scar is playing very good themselves. And in fact, they're going to kill Silhouette again here at the bottom lane as she attempted a tree grapple, but the freeze came out, and then the stomp was used, sure enough, by Moraxis right there to guarantee the kill. So it is already now an 8-1 hero kill advantage in favor of the Hellborn side. And frustration really does have to be kicking in here for Call It Karma. I will say the earlier round, every other round other than the grand finals of these qualifiers, they're best of 1. So clearly if you're Call It Karma, you'd be like, well, this sucks, we're done. It is a best of 3 here in the grand final. So again, you know what? Okay, our game 1 obviously didn't go as good as we wanted it. I know it's only 8 minutes into the game, so it is still very, very early on. But at least have that in the back of your head of, we do at least have another game. So yeah. But it is pretty ugly here early on, honestly. So
yeah, and the thing that I don't understand is, why would you even start with a dual lane bottom of the Luna and Silhouette? Why not start mid and then adjust from there? Also, having the Bloodlust happen, it kind of seemed obvious to me that their lanes were going to be aggressive with Parasite, as most of the time they are. Because you can be aggressive on a passive jungler. Now, the only key is if, like, say the Legion team had Glacius, then you can help out your jungler and force Parasite out of your woods, but they don't have Glacius. In fact, the Hellborn team has Glacius. So it should be a very, very good indication that you're going to be aggressed on in your own jungle. So that should mean don't send 2 and a passive jungler against an aggressive tri-lane that's going to just, just totally own you.
Yeah.
And that's what they did, and they're still sticking with this. Like, a Luna Silhouette still here. Actually, top lane Electrician in a lot of trouble. Uses his ult to try to purge off some slows, but the auto attacks are just pummeling. He does fall, actually. Glacius on a legendary streak. Has more kills than his level.
5-0-1 Glacius. Oh, man, clearly doing work. But that's to his credit, though. He's been in every single lane multiple times throughout this game. Again, he started off getting that bloodlust kill. Everyone got the kill on the silhouette, as you were just referring to, but he really has been active. So, again, this has been a mix of just honestly great play coming out here from the Hellborn team at the same time. So, that is good to see, but it's just getting uglier and uglier. Call it Karma. We see Pebbles in the middle lane. Nothing's going to happen. He had a regen room, but he had no chance really to get away right there. Yeah, it's really, you know, what else is there to add to this trail? It seems like it's going to keep on being the same old, same old. Yep. In fact, Adro on Glacius got that kill even, so he's now 6-0-1. He's level 4. Oh, man, that's crazy.
He's going for the double hero kills than my level strat.
Yeah.
And then, like, what can they do? Like, what can they change in this lineup to get something started for Call of Karma? Like, they can't gank Meraxis. He's too damn tanky. Also, by the way, he has a portal key. They can't gank Jeremiah. He's too tanky and has all his spells, his heal and protective charm. The only possible thing you could do is gank the Wretched Hag. That's it. But it's already hard enough because she's level 10, has the mobility of her flash. There's the portal key being showed off by by Meraxis onto Luna, pursuing him. The axes fly and he dies. Not to mention the top tower dies. Wretched Hag pursuing Electrician. Probably not going to get the kill actually going in, but it's not going to have enough mana. So, yeah, things are looking very, very grim. 10,000 gold lead already in favor of Scar.
Yeah, this is one of those few games where it's just pre-15 minutes. I'm honestly even confident saying this game's already over. What are you going to do if you call it Karma? It's just what it ultimately goes back to. You have absolutely nothing going for you. I mean, Warbeast, sure, he's at 225 GPM. He's got the ring of, or not the ring, but the Abyssal Skull finished. That's definitely a good start for him, but it's the rest of his team is just getting annihilated, and it's going to continue. Here we go again. Silhouette is going to fall here at the bottom lane. Glacius helps setting it up with the portal key Meraxis, and Ghostig on Parasite actually comes in to steal the kill. Ghostig's actually the worst farmer on his team, believe it or not, at 240 gold per minute. Even Glacius is higher, but Parasite's 3-1-3. And still managing to be the worst farm. But Wretched Hag, man, wow, 430 gold per minute himself. Really up there. Nearly level 11. You made that point. He's already 10, nearly level 11. That's big. Oh, they stopped the streak, finally. The Jellyfish will actually get some nice bonus gold for that. It's killing Glacius here. Not often you get that, especially from Glacius kill, but he'll take it. But still, you're already looking at a 10.5 thousand deficit in terms of gold and a 7,500 experience deficit. So.
Yeah, they're all about the defensive wars right now. They have a ward at the 11-minute mark in their own jungle, and that's how they were able to spot out the Glacius right there. So they got some kind of thing going for them, but it's just not enough. Alme falls again. He has 5 deaths on Silhouette so far. And again, it's not really his fault. It's just the way that the lanes were set up. Well, okay, I will say it was a bit of his fault at the beginning there, getting caught out in the Bloodlust. You got to be much more careful, especially in this metagame. So many teams are roaming pre 0 minutes and trying to find that opening and that little extra edge by getting a Bloodlust early on. And you need to put, your positioning needs to reflect that. So, yeah, 13-2 hero kill lead in favor of Team Scar right now. And they are banging on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's kidding. I will say, kind of a funny thing again. This is just game 1 of a best out of 3, but so Call of Karma, as I said earlier, they actually were in the last finals here last week in these qualifiers. They ended up losing to Pudge. But you do get a prize. You actually still get 5 headphones, Sound Blaster headphones, as a result of finishing second in these qualifiers. We're the first place team to not only qualify, obviously, but they also even get sound cards. So, if it just so happens, if Call of Karma happens to lose the series, yeah, they get another pair of headphones, I guess. Yeah, put those on eBay or whatever. So there is still a positive coming out of it, but obviously you want to ultimately just qualify for those for that big main event, of course. So yeah, Scar again. They're just continuing to look really strong here. 13-2 hero kill lead as we're now just passing the 13-minute mark. Wretched Hag by herself. She's actually been level 10 for a while, it seems like. She's kind of been running around trying to set up ganks and whatnot. But Warbeast is trying to get any bit of farm he can, continues to get. Now even in the Hellborn jungle up here. As he is farming again, 243 gold per minute. It's respectable.
Yeah.
Not really the greatest for this game here.
Yeah, it's actually not bad, but when you compare it to the rest of your team, and when you compare it especially to the rest of the enemy team, what they have, it's just the lowest farmer. Oh, yeah. No, okay, almost dead. More action in mid. Bat Blast going to be used onto Pebbles. He does combo Jeremiah. Jeremiah gets gripped as well. Can he get the heal off? Yes, he can. He's got an ultimate as well. Mirax is coming in with a blink. Everybody dies there on Team Quali Karma, and they get the tower kill. And Jeremiah has a regen that he just popped. So
yeah, that right there was, we're this many more levels than you, and we have this much more farm than you. You can outplay us. It doesn't matter, basically. War Beast, he's actually in a lot of trouble up here at the top lane as well. Glacia's coming for assistance. The Tundra Blast would probably kill him, actually. There we go. It doesn't kill him. Barely puts him at 5 life, and there we go. Again. Well, that is his name, actually. Again, actually, more action. Let's go. Parasite being trapped here by the creep wave, but he'll be able to port out and be just fine. So, I have a feeling, Tralf, that we're maybe 30 seconds away before this game is actually over. I find it very hard to, again, with this being game number 1, why put yourself through that much more torture? Why not just get done with it and move on to what would be game number 2? So,
yeah, I think this is one of the cases where you bombed in not necessarily the draft, but the lanes especially. And again, I still find it interesting that you first lock the Parasite and then don't have intentions to pick him up. Maybe they were just so damn scared of that Glacius pick that it deterred them from taking the Parasite.
Yeah.
15 minutes rolls around, but doesn't look like they want to CC just yet. Because they want to play this out. But I got to tell you, yeah, okay. GG go next, actually. 17,000 gold lead at 15 minutes. I've never seen that before, ever.
That's definitely a definition of snowball right there. And again, I think it is a classic case. Sure. It gets your seal of approval, apparently.
All right, yeah, all right.
Those 15-minute concedes. I think it's a classic case, though. C1K, I don't think Scar is just a dominating team over C1K necessarily. I think it just the laning phase, just how it just played out, momentum got in their favor. They pulled away with it big time. So I mean, we've seen the best of the best teams like Complexity even and whatnot in spots like C1K was here. So
yeah,
it can happen. It can happen to the best of them. So hopefully, my point being that we're going to go into game number 2 now, calm things down, and we get a great game here. Because I would hate to see obviously a quick series because of that, but
yeah. Well, like I said, I think it was just a bomb in the draft and laning, and it does like the laning phase is so important in Han, and especially with a hero like specifically Parasite because he gets kills, he sets up kills, he screws with the jungle, he runs around all the time, and it's very difficult to play against him unless you have a good support like Glacius. But like I said, Glacius was already picked up early on in the picking phase by Scar, so thing to think about as you walk into the next match.
It is indeed. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick break right here, but we'll have game number 2. Quali Karma taking on YOLO, aka Scar, whatever you want to call them. They're up 1-0 though. That's what matters, and we're going to be moving on to game 2. So sit tight, guys. Second game coming up next.